So you really have to take people from where they're coming from. Allah says it in the Quran. There's two different types of questions. There's people who ask questions out of sincerity that want to know, right? It's like, how is Allah going to resurrect? One of the prophets asked that question. And then Allah called forth the birds and told him to cut up the birds and put different parts of the different birds on mountaintops so that he could bring them back together. Allah didn't mock him, didn't say what a stupid question that was, right? He treated it seriously. And similar things, right? When you have the Hawariyun, right? The disciples of Jesus, when they asked to see a sign or they asked to see a table, right? They wanted a table sent down, and then, he brought down a table, right? There are certain questions that people ask because they want to increase their faith. They mean well by the question. So you have to treat that person one way. And then there's people who ask questions out of arrogance, right? Like when Musa alayhi salam was talking to Bani Israel and said, you have to sacrifice a cow. The questions that Bani Israel was asking, what color should it be? How old should it be? All these sorts of things. Those are not genuine questions, right? Those are questions that are asked out of bad faith. So anybody, but especially da'is and imams, you have to be able to differentiate between a person who's asking in good faith and a person who's not asking in good faith. The person who's not asking in good faith, you have a little bit more leeway to clap back at them, right? Because they're trying to step to you. They're trying to make you and your religion look like a fool. And so if you're going to make us look like a fool, I'm going to make you look like a fool, right? Like that's kind of how it goes. That's no problem. And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ did after the Battle of Uhud, right? You had Abu Sufyan was like, where is Omar? Where is, this companion? And the Prophet ﷺ said, don't say anything. But then when he started praising his gods, he started praising the idols. The Prophet ﷺ said, aren't you going to say something? And then Omar clapped back. He said, no, we're not the same. Your dead are in hellfire. Our dead are in paradise. Our dead are martyrs. So you have to have a comeback sometimes for people who are not acting in good faith. However, at the same time, you better be sure that you don't have that reaction towards somebody who's asking in good faith, right? Because sometimes Muslims, especially the youth, they ask you a question, and maybe the question's contaminated with all these sorts of modern ideologies and sort of different things, but they really want to know. I'll never forget, I saw, and this was years ago, I saw that somebody was asked a question by a sister, why aren't there any woman prophets, or why can't women be prophets, or something like that. And the person started mocking the questioner and mocking the question. And that made me so sad, because even if you find the question to come from a place where this person was misguided or misinformed or affected by this ideology or that ideology, the person seemed to be asking in good faith. And if a person is asking a question to know, then that person deserves to know. You need to give them a robust, an actual seriously good answer that's going to try to convince them. It doesn't mean that you're going to always be able to do that. And maybe that person has other sorts of things within their faith that are obstacles that they need to kind of work through. But you need to be able to differentiate. You have to differentiate between the person who's asking because they're actually making themselves vulnerable to you and actually coming to you with a problem and wanting to hear, or they want to believe, they want to be convinced, but they're not. You need to treat that person with kindness and with understanding, and you need to help them. But then a person who's just trying to make you look bad, that's a completely different situation.